Wow, we have some breaking news for Tesla stock investors here this afternoon. Tesla just announced that all Model Y prices in the US will increase by $1,000 on April 1st. This is pretty crazy, not because April 1st is my birthday and happy birthday to me, Model Y prices get raised. This should be great news for Tesla margins. Now, some of the bears are going to say Tesla's raising prices on April 1st because margins have gotten worse. Maybe that's because Tesla is raising wages for most of their workers. That could be the price of lithium that has recently jumped a little bit. The way I see this is it either is going to be positive for margins or it's going to stabilize margins. So I think it becomes a lot harder to make the argument that margins are going to fall more from here, at least in the second quarter and beyond. And it does show Tesla is taking an effort to preserve margins to some degree. The US market, besides last quarter, is the most important market for Tesla. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of color into delivery numbers for the US as far as on a week by week or month by month basis like we do from other countries, including China. So we have to kind of guesstimate what demand looks like for the US, but this is a pretty good sign. It looks okay at the bare minimum. Tesla's strategy for a while has been cut prices as orders have started to fall to boost demand, and the fact that they are raising prices $1,000 across the board, that's fantastic news no matter which way you want to put it. Tesla Europe and Middle East X account also wrote this post that says Model Y prices will increase across a number of countries in Europe on Friday, March 22nd. So this is going to be a March price increase, and then the US is on April 1st. We also have this news from Dennis CW on X. He says Tesla updates website. The $4,000 federal tax credit applied at the time of delivery for used Teslas. It says, quote, up to $4,000 federal tax credit. Eligible buyers receive up to $4,000 off the purchase price of qualified used vehicles applied at the time of delivery. And I would also say that's a little bit of good news as well whenever you can have the government help incentivize purchase of a Tesla or really for any other car or truck out there. That's going to be a positive thing ultimately. Tesla staff at Gigafactory Berlin will go to the voting booth next week to select their new work council for the next 2 years. And it looks like Tesla could be releasing an illuminated door sill trim plate for the Cybertruck soon, according to a new trademark filing. Brands on X post a picture of a cyber hammer. Not exactly sure what that means, if that's going to become up for sale or not. The U.S. Federal Highway Administration requests comments on incorporating Tesla's NACS connector into federal requirements. Comments must be received on or before April 5th, 2024. And it looks like a big wave of FSD Beta v12.3 went out last night and into this morning. Will be good to see more people use it and what the broader consensus is. What we can see so far is, quote, a buttery smooth roundabout on v12.3. He said v11 was rough, so let's just see what we're working with here. And roundabouts, they have to be one of the more difficult things for some kind of autonomous software to do because there's so many different things going on. I remember when I first started driving, I hated roundabouts. They were so freaking annoying. Now they're not, as annoying. They're not such a problem. Still kind of annoying, but that was, yeah, smooth like butter if I were to say so myself. Not a hiccup or a flaw there. And if you can start to conquer roundabouts, it's going to make just about everything look like a breeze. All Tesla Model S and X paint colors are now free starting today in China. The offer ends at the end of this month. I don't know how much this is actually going to boost sales, but I don't think it should hurt margins too much in China because what's really the difference between getting a white paint or a silver paint or a blue paint? likely not that much of a cost difference anyways. Tesla China won the Excellent Open Innovation Company Award and 2023 Excellent Low Carbon Demonstration Case for its green technology, the water waste solvent resource recycling project. They reduce waste generation, reduce pollination, and reduce carbon. Tesla's Asia Pacific officer Zhang Botang says Tesla's plant is constantly working to build progressive, green, and sustainable models. And Tesla's $1,000 price increase for Model Ys in Canada is officially here. Now, I am curious to why the Model Y's inventory numbers are so high and Tesla is raising prices. In theory, if inventory numbers globally were this high, you would see Tesla more than likely cutting prices. So maybe it just means there's a lot of demand that they're ramping up production and maybe subsequently they're raising prices. That would make sense to me. But you've recently seen quite a spike here for Model Y inventories. So I'm curious to what exactly is going on there. But with this new information of a price hike, it looks like good, right? There's no way to frame that as bad. You see Model X, Model S, and Model 3 inventory numbers still at very low levels, and I think there is a lot of good demand for the Model 3 in the US. Obviously, I can't prove that, but I think there is. Maybe you are seeing slower than expected production of the new Model 3, and maybe that's why inventory numbers are so low for the new Model 3 compared to the Model Y. Google Trends data shows, well, there's absolutely no search trend activity for Tesla anymore. Very strange. Obviously, this is not really what's going on, but the Google Trends data just went straight to zero after you were seeing some very nice uptrends overall in search trend activity. It's just gone. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. If you take a look at Tesla's advertising efforts on Google, they are now advertising about 3,000 different ads. It's been here at 3,000 for a while, and I expect it's probably going to stay right at about 3,000. Option activity last week in Tesla from hedge funds and institutions was pretty neutral, slightly positive, with a positive order value of 57%. You had 5,264 different trades, totaling $12.31 billion. And again, 57% positive order value. That's a lot better than what it could be. Still kind of neutral overall, but slightly positive. Tesla shorts continue to short the stock, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me considering the stock is down so much and likely pricing in so much bad news already. But hey, to each his own. You do have short interest of 3.46%, the highest it has been for Tesla in a long time. $15.56 billion currently in Tesla short positions, with cost to borrow fees roughly around 10%, suggesting even on Friday, you had a lot of shorts taking on short positions. And considering this news of Tesla raising prices on the Model Y by $1,000 basically everywhere, that could be a really bad time to have taken on a short position on Friday. Sentiment over on StockTwits for Tesla is sitting at 58. Yesterday it was at 62. So definitely a little bit lower than what you seen yesterday, but still bullish overall. Pretty good number. Message volume is a lot lower today than yesterday. Yesterday was high at 68. Today is low at 42, which today is Saturday, St. Patty's weekend. I mean, that's expected that message volume is going to be low. Participation ratio is at 55, which is the same as previously, and that just means there's more accounts talking about Tesla. And ultimately, if you did want a rally to occur in Tesla, you would want to see as many accounts talking about Tesla as possible. That's a pretty good sign or indication that you could start to get more buyers coming into the stock. The percent of stocks above their 50-day moving average on Friday actually went up about 1.34%. That's surprising considering the Nasdaq was down over 1%. S&P close behind it, down about 0.7%. The Dow was down about 0.5%. But the Russell was actually green on Friday. The Russell was up about 0.4%. So you did see a rotation in the markets on Friday. I don't know how long that's going to last, considering we have some big upcoming catalysts. So I would take it with a grain of salt. Maybe this is a short-lived broadening out of our markets. As you know, Tesla was also green on Friday. If we do get the kind of rug pull that I'm expecting from the Fed this week, that's going to be a bit of a problem, and I would expect the markets are going to fall, and Tesla would fall, small caps will fall, everything would likely fall at that point. The latest AI investor sentiment survey came out on Thursday of last week as well. Bullish investors fell from 51.7% to 45.9%, so quite a drop there. Neutral investors jumped from 26.5% to 32.2%, and bearish investors stayed pretty much the same at 21.8% last week to 21.9% in this latest reading. So only up a little bit. It looks like the bulls, well, they just went to being neutral, or at least some of them. You're back to the same level of bullishness you were at like end of February. So in the grand scope of things, markets are still very bullish, but more people just got neutral, which means those neutral individuals might start to get bearish in this week ahead. And well, the sentiment is still pretty dang bullish. So that could likely lead to quite a bit of downside from here if we do get the right sequence of events that happens next week. As I said in the last video, titled something along the lines of the coming Fed rug pull, I do think the Fed has to put it back on the table that they will raise rates again if they need to. Not that they expect to, but they will raise rates if they need to. That's a problem, because this entire market rally that we have seen in 2024 hasn't been predicated on 7 rate cuts or 2 rate cuts or 5 rate cuts, this magical number of rate cuts. It's been predicated off of the next move from the Fed is a cut. It doesn't even matter. They're not going to raise rates. The next move's a cut. Well, you've seen inflation come in hotter than expected on every single inflation report in 2024. The Fed doesn't know if that's going to continue. If that continues, the Fed may need to raise rates. And I think the Fed is really going to outline that for us in this week ahead's Fed meeting, which is going to be on Wednesday. Just the Fed suggesting they may need to raise rates again could be enough to send stocks into a correction. You really have risk assets just going insane recently. I mean, you can even look at crypto, and crypto's at all-time highs. A lot of that, I would say, is because of the Fed's switch to more easy policy. Now, if you look at Goldman Sachs Global Financial Conditions Index, well, yeah, financial conditions are some of the loosest they have been in a very, very long time, okay? Think back to like 2010 back here, 2010, 2012, this area. Global financial crisis, rates were at 0, quantitative easing like no other. This was a very stimulus time in the markets. Well, look now, you're starting to trend back down to those levels, and that's just because credit's available. Crypto's rising. The VIX has been very low. There's really no volatility in the markets to speak of as of recently. This does not suggest the Fed's going to be in any rush to start cutting rates. Again, if anything, I think the Fed's going to say they may need to raise rates, and that's not something the markets are conditioned for. Now, as I said in the last video as well, Goldman Sachs, they see a big jump in volatility coming in April. They see the VIX heading to about 21.5, which the last time you were there, the S&P fell about 10.5% during that correctionary period in October and November of 2023. So that's roughly what I would expect again if the VIX were to get to 21 plus. And Goldman Sachs is urging their clients to buy $16 calls on the VIX expiring in April. That's a very short-term, very specific call. And we'll see. We do have the NVIDIA GTC conference coming on Monday. I think a lot of the rally in NVIDIA recently has been a buy the rumor, potentially sell the news event. We'll see if you do get a sell the news event coming on Monday, but that's just my speculation here. Ever since NVIDIA's earnings, when the stock was $750 and some change, you've seen that buy the rumor. Maybe we'll see the sell the news event. And then you obviously have the Fed coming next week, as well as some important earnings from Micron, FedEx, Lululemon, Nike, some consumer names that will also be important. And not to mention, McDonald's CFO just said they are seeing a decline in traffic in 2024, and some customers are just choosing to eat at home more often. And McDonald's CFO said that on Wednesday. If you're bagging on the consumer spending money to drive earnings growth in the S&P for 2024 and beyond, if the consumer's slowing down at McDonald's, that's a problem, okay? And I get it, fast food's a lot more expensive now than it was before, but that's still a problem no matter which way you put it. So I do think that caused a little bit of fear last week as well. Now, as I previously mentioned in other videos, I do think 160 is a strong level of support. But if this week is a rough one, then you could definitely fall back to about that 150 level. I actually have the specific line here at about 147. It wouldn't surprise me if you fell to like 147 and then, by the end of the day you close at like 150, or you only stay under 150 for a short period of time, and that would be about 10% downside from here. But you got to consider Tesla just raised prices on the Model Y across the board, and that seemingly is going to be some good news coming on Monday. So maybe that means Tesla stock rallies a little bit and then comes back down later in the week once we get the Fed meeting, and maybe that puts us right at about 150. So maybe we get a little bit more cushion here in the near term based on Tesla raising prices. Let me know what you think about all of this information. We have a lot more to go over in the next video, so stay tuned to the channel for that one. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you guys want to come trade with us live in real time. Come hedge out your portfolios, get a little crazy over there, maybe do some YOLOs here and there, some earnings trades. You know how we do it. If you know, the guys that are in that group. Yeah, hopefully you've hit some of those nice trades along with me and others. Link down below in the description of the video for that one. If you guys want to go ahead and follow the X account, it's Michael Tyler over there. Pretty easy to find. Just type in Michael Tyler. Should bring it up pretty easily. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your weekends, and I will see you in the next one.